Member Russell on climate change.
Thank you, Chair. The IPCC's, so can I congratulate Senator Russell as well on the promotion. The IPCC's special report on global warming of 1.5 degrees is a wake-up call. The consequences of exceeding 1.5 degrees Celsius average temperature across the globe are significant, and we only have a short time to act. We're already preparing for London to experience more frequent severe flooding in the winter and to have hotter, drier summers. This could affect all Londoners in the type of heat wave that is predicted to occur in the 2030s. It's estimated that 2/3 of flats could overheat. Nearly 1.3 million people already live and work in areas at risk of flooding, and that's why we're working hard to make London a more resilient city. We're doing all we can from City Hall to make sure London plays its part in mitigating climate change. London was among the first to achieve certification of a Paris Agreement compatible climate action plan by C40. This confirmation of compliance was sent by C40 in April 2018. My ambition is for London to be a zero carbon city by 2050, and we've set out plans to make this a reality in the London Environment Strategy, which has also been independently assessed to be 1.5 degrees compliant. This puts London's ambition well ahead of national government that is lagging well behind the IPCC's recommendations. I've reviewed the carbon reduction targets of London since I became mayor to make them more ambitious. London has also set ambitious short-term carbon budgets in my London Environment Strategy based on what is technically feasible with huge commitment and leadership. To give you an idea of the scale of action required, by 2035 we must retrofit nearly 1.5 million homes. That would require retrofitting of up to 150,000 homes in 1 year. We also need to change our heat to low carbon sources and create an entirely zero carbon transport network. We're taking action now to make this a reality and are introducing zero carbon standards for new buildings, bringing in the world's toughest low emission zones and improving the energy efficiency of buildings through my refit and renew programmes and our new £500 million energy efficient loan fund. But London can't do this alone. The government climate policies won't meet its own 8% carbon reduction target, let alone the Paris Agreement aims.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's good that you are aware of the seriousness of the IPCC report and that you can see the serious potential impacts for Londoners. 1.5 degrees warming it's like a cliff edge, and beyond that we get to the very worst impacts of climate breakdown, floods, heat waves, extreme weather events and wildfires becoming our new normal. Now, given that the IPCC say that this limit could be exceeded in as little as 12 years, that's by 2030. Yeah. So will you consider a 12-year emergency carbon reduction plan for London based on the IPCC recommendations?
Well, we already are doing more than the national government. As it is, for us to meet the ambitious targets, we've got 3 5-year budgets carbon budgets going forward. We need the government to do much more than they currently are. So one of the reasons why...
You're right to criticise the government. They're forcing through fracking, Heathrow expansion, pulling the plug on solar, all of those things, then absolutely not showing any leadership. But I asked if you'd consider a 12-year emergency carbon reduction plan for London based on the IPCC report.
Sure, and I was about to explain what we've done is that the 3 5-year carbon reduction targets already shown to by the C40 to get us towards meeting the requirements of the Paris Accord. As it is, for us to meet those ambitious and stretching targets, we need the government to do much more. And I'm worried, as it currently stands, the government's not going to do enough for us to meet even those stretching targets. So the 2 criteria we've had is being ambitious, but being realistic. And some of the things we need, just to meet those targets, by the way, before you go even further, is we need the government to provide strong and consistent national policy that will help us meet our targets. We need help with regulation, economic incentives and funding. Without those, some people are querying whether we can even reach the targets we currently have.
So, given that the government clearly needs to be doing more, would you, for instance, back a call for a national government task force working across departments to drive climate action at every level of government, so at local government, borough level, as well as at London level. Is that a call that you would back?
Yeah, and that's basically what we're doing in City Hall. You can't look at this in silos. The idea that simply one department looking at this is ridiculous. I mean, transport, housing, all policy, the budget, the comprehensive spending review, all these things are linked. And you're right to remind us that we're the best one in the world, whether it's Michael Gove or Claire Perry, they by themselves can't do this, and it needs to buy in from all departments from government. And whether it's a task force or what we're doing here by mainstreaming the issue, that needs to happen as soon as possible.
Thank you. And finally, apart from the sort of big picture of decarbonising our city's infrastructure, the IPCC report lists examples of changes that we can make in our daily lives, like eating less meat and dairy, video conferencing rather than flying, walking and cycling more, using washing lines, not tumble dryers, the kind of changes that Londoners can make to move to a lower carbon way of living. Will you take on inspiring Londoners to take the threat of climate change seriously, as you have done with air pollution?
Oh, we've got it. I mean, look, for example, the last two C40 meetings I've done by telephone conference rather than attending them. And these are some of the examples of the things that we can do. A lot of this is common sense. One of the reasons why I was so keen, for example, for us to ensure we have water fountains across our city is for people to take some personal responsibility of refilling bottles. There are other examples we can do, and it doesn't need to be in a patronising, lecturing way. It's just being a bit more savvy about what we can do to contribute towards not having a situation where by 2030, that's what the fare is.
So do I take that as a yes, because I'm almost out of time?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.